another episode of the Jarring Science Club. I'm your host, Brenda, and today we're going to be making a vacuum in a jar so we can kind of symbolize how the vacuum of space works. Let's get started. Here's what you're going to need. Some water, a little candle, a fire starter, and an adult helper. A little plate, some blue food coloring, or the color of your choice, and as always, a jar. You can use a plastic or a glass one for this experiment. First, what you're going to want to do is color your water just a little bit. This makes it easier to see during the experiment, and it's just a little more fun. Drop a couple of drops of food coloring into your water. Now give it a little stir. I'm going to zoom in for the next part. The next step is to fill your little saucer with the blue water. Put your candle in the middle of the water and have a parent light it. Now you're going to take your jar and put it on top of your candle and watch what happens. In a jar to illustrate how space works, and to another level how black holes work. Space itself is not necessarily a vacuum. Space is just huge. From what we understand about the universe likes to be in balance. The universe doesn't like it if there's too much of something in one spot and not enough of something in another spot. So whenever there's an imbalance, molecules will move around to try to create that balance. This is what happened in your jar. You light the candle, which burns the oxygen in the air inside your jar. This means that inside the jar, there's no longer oxygen taking up that space. So what the molecules inside the jar do is they try to find something to fill that space. So they suck in the water from the bottom of the jar up into the jar and create a rising water level inside the jar. When things equalize between the outside environment and the inside environment, then your water doesn't fill up anymore. Space works on the same principle. Many things in space have gravity. Every particle and molecule has a bit of gravity. But the reason that space is like a vacuum is because there is such enormous space between the objects in the universe. This means that there are huge pockets where there are little to no molecules at all. And because the universe likes to be equal, those empty pockets are going to seek out the bigger particles and molecules to create that balance. Black holes work on a similar principle because a black hole is basically just a huge gravity well. It has such an intense vacuum pull that it pulls in the surrounding objects into it, and where? We don't know because we've never encountered one in person. Maybe one day we'll know more about black holes, how they work, how gravity works in space, and why there's such a pull of balance in the world. Maybe you can do your own research and find some of your own answers. That's it for today. See you next time.